these are some of the people that I've been behind the door with. You can judge for yourself how sinful they are on what sort of scale, if there is a scale. If you're making up a scale, I leave it up to you. I'm just going to tell you that I was there at the same time as these people. Some of them have been mentioned before, but well, if in my opinion it's being judged as sinful, then they got to go in it again. I'm not gonna harp on about Stephen Paul. I've done a video about him before, the most infamous or notorious, something along those lines. The what was his name? The grinder killer. He was meeting young men on the Grinder app, and only he was leaving in the morning. I've done a video about it. I was in Pentonville at the same time as him. Didn't see him at all really. I mean, he had the whole of the induction wing. I forgot the name of the induction wing, but it was next door to the Jubilee wing. What's the name of it? I forgot the name of it. Right, next door to the Jubilee wing. The induction wing. He had the whole of the how many tiers did it go up? 4s, 5s. He had the whole of that, the top floor to himself. He was in a yellow outfit, escapee suit. He was there because it happened in Barking, and that was the local until he got moved wherever. Yeah, I've done a video about it before, but sinful probably. One-eyed fella in the Ville also, for totally different reasons. The biggest, in my opinion, the biggest snitch I've ever come across in jail, and no one could do nothing about it. I may have mentioned him before. Maybe I have. I know I've mentioned him in other contexts, talking about bios and things like that. Bio cleaners doing cell cleans, dirty protests and things like that. Anyway, yeah, One Eye. I'll call him One Eye. He had an eye missing out of the Ville was his local. He had everything going that you could think of. Hep C, HIVs, TB, everything, anything and everything. So he had to go a lot of outside hospitals visits. Yeah, so he was probably on hold as well. So once you're sentenced, you go to that. That's a remand jail, to Pentonville. You get shipped out, you get moved wherever to the sentence places. He would have been on hold because he had to go for a lot of appointments, medical appointments, simple as that. Another geezer that was on the wing, may or may not have been, allegedly of course, but was when he was going out on his visits, was getting things dropped off to the visit, like to the doctor's visits, allegedly of course. Just repeating what I've heard. Maybe I'm wrong. And then he was bringing it back and getting whatever he was getting out of it, big old lumps, allegedly. And it didn't change the fact that he was snitching on people left, right, and centre. I mean, I'm just putting this out as an example, yeah. But the thing was, what can you do? He had matey looking after him, the geezer that he was getting things for. He literally had him looking after him. Wouldn't let nothing happen to him. It's what it is. I'll give you a quick example of just a coincidence. I had a good stereo. I forgot what it was. I honestly forgot what it was. Don't know I had a good stereo. At this time, I didn't have a stereo. My cellmate, who was my co-D, had a good stereo. His previous cellmate had left it to him. When he went home, he got not guilty in court. He said, whatever's in the cell, just keep. Obviously, I don't. When you get back there, keep it. He had a really good sound system, good one, few £100 one, you know. This mate, he walks up to him. One I walked up to him. Asked if he could buy it for whatever, and obviously my Cody said no, and then it was just a coincidence that the next day Screws come and took it with the clipboard, as if, like, you know, the prop, what's on your property, which is the only thing you're really meant to be allowed, is stuff that's on your prop card. Just, you know, stops people. Well, I don't know what it stops. That's the only thing you're meant to have. You know what I mean? But they come there with the prop card. Oh, that stereo's not there, not on your prop card. We've got to take it. Gone. I mean, ridiculous. Just a coincidence. Not saying anything happened. Not saying anything suspect happened. But yeah. I mean, when this geezer went home, this shows how much of a. Well, I've said it. Actually, I know I spoke about him before, because I've said it before. This geezer went home, and I've told you about all the things he had. I had to go in there as a bio cleaner and do a complete bio in his cell, because no one would go in there. No one, and the Screws wouldn't even put other people in there off another wing that didn't even know who'd been in there. Not just because of what he had. I'm not discriminating against what he had, but he was filthy to another level. And usually that would be a cleaner's job, but they wouldn't even go in there. I had to go in there and do a bio clean, because this geezer was just such a slob. I couldn't imagine he's still alive. He may be. There's so many things wrong with him. I would be very surprised, including a massive drug habit. So I would be very, very surprised. But stranger things have happened. The distraction burglar. I think I've mentioned him before, from Chelmsford. You know, when the people knock on the doors and pretend they're from the gas company or whatever. It's usually an old person's door, and they go in, and, you know, do whatever and take things. It's stealing, isn't it? This geezer, this woman had Alzheimer's, very old, and he kept going back there and was interfering. We'll just say that with her repeatedly, and yeah, and she didn't remember it because she had Alzheimer's, and someone had set up a camera and caught him because things kept going missing. An old cellmate of mine in Pentonville, I've mentioned him before. Very, he kept this quiet the whole time. He was a BICS assessor and a BICS trainer. He was an assessor at BICS, and he was a bio cleaner as well. I can't remember what he was telling everyone that he was banged up for, but it was. I found this out on another sentence. I got out, come back, got my old job back as an assessor, and so did one other boy who'd come back. Everyone else was new, and one of the bosses in there, like the staff, said blah blah. I was just brought him up in a conversation as if we knew him. He was like, "Oh, I thought you knew." He was like, "What?" Interfering with his son, who was very young, and he was like, "Oh, I thought you knew." Of course we didn't know. I was banged up with him for a little while, but I left. Literally, I left because he used to he was doing a lot of woodworking and so with matchsticks and things, and I couldn't handle all the sawdust all over the place. And there was just pure dust. Did not know what he was into, what he was banged up for, and it took another sentence to come back. But it just proves that just very, very few staff, officers, whatever you want to call them, Screws, will grass up an inmate for that. I've seen it happen, but very, very few, very few and far between. Most of them just do their job. That's not judging it in any way, shape, or form. Just saying how it is. When I was in Aylesbury, some boys turned up, and just as I was leaving, there was a group of and there was these girls that had owed them money or something. I don't know. I'm not sure the reason behind it. There was a reason behind it. I'm not sure, but they, you know, they were brought somewhere, and you know, everything, you know, torture, everything bad happened to them, and then they were killed. There was a group of boys there. I didn't actually see that. I was on, like I said, they say they come in. I was on the induction wing, and then you know, boys were talking because they knew that they knew they were there, and most boys were like, "No, that's bang out of order." Like, obviously there was a I say obviously, these boys had a reason. If they got to do it, a lot of boys were saying, a lot of people were saying, if they got to do it, this was in Aylesbury. If they got to do it, just do it. What's with all the other stuff that they did with it, you know? And there was other boys that were actually like defending it, saying, "Well, why not? If they're going anyways, why not do that?" Which was just things I heard, and they make me step back and think, "Oh, mate, you know, who were some of these boys on the wing?" But just saying things I heard. Yeah, a lot of boys. The majority of people was totally like, well, if you're gonna do it, if you've got to do it. I'm not saying if you've got to do it. There's never a good enough reason, really, is there? There's never a good enough reason to do that, to end someone's life. But if you think if it's gonna happen, then just do it. You know, everything else that went with it was the majority of people said was wrong, but a lot of people that I just heard talking was saying that, well, if they got to go anyway, then why not? Which was, yeah, odd to me, very odd. I've said the story about the other geezer. He come out after he left. He got moved off the wing for making inappropriate comments to people at the pool table, saying he would do favours for them for tobacco. I've told this. This was in Aylesbury. He got moved off the wing, and it come about. Rhymes with Huxley, by the way, not Huxley, just rhymes with. It come about that he come home drunk. Everyone was in bed, asleep, and including his mum. And he walks upstairs, and I'll leave the rest. That's what he was in jail. That's what he was banged up for. I'll leave the rest. I won't even say the rest. Doesn't need to be said. But that's what he was there for. And again, it come out after he left. Yeah, come out after he left. It's as simple as that. I've told a story about the next geezer of my previous cellmate, how I ended up with a single cell because this geezer just like confessed his sins one night. He was an old man, 80 odd, and really my senses should have been up, because I'm thinking it should have been, well, what are you doing? You're not climbing through windows. That's what I should have been thinking. But because he slept 90% of the day, and I was basically at the run of the cell, including of everything that belonged to him, he did say, you can have a bit of coffee, have a bit of tobacco. You know, that's all the invite I need. He's asleep all day. I've got the remote. I'm just, you know, I mean, I'm doing what I want. So I just thought, oh, sweet. That's what I thought. That's what I should have been thinking. Well, what has he done? He's not climbing through windows, and he doesn't look like he's a multi-millionaire. You know, OG. You know, so yeah, one night he's like confessing just nastiness after nastiness after nastiness, and he ended up he ended up with a bloody nose. It was on the floor, and he got moved out of the cell, and it all works out. But I ended up getting a single cell because of that. But because the officers, I got on the bell before he hurt himself. I got on the bell and told the officers to move him, and the officer told me to wait till the morning. The night officer told me to wait till the morning after I had the paperwork and showed him. Told me to wait till the morning. I wasn't going to wait till the morning. So once what happened, I got on the bell again. Oscar 1's now come. I've told Oscar 1 what happened. Oscar 1 wasn't happy once he found out that I was told to wait till the morning. So I didn't actually get in trouble for it, but I used it. I went downstairs, and I'd been complaining anyway I've been trying to get a single cell. I've been complaining about being incontinent, wetting myself. Probably not true. But I used it to my thing. I went down to the nurse, and I said, look, I ended up having a scuffle maybe, with my cellmate, and it was all due to the incontinence. And because Oscar 1 sort of give me a slide for what happened, I sort of used it to my advantage and got a single cell out of it anyway without getting in trouble. I could have got it if I'd have just stuck with the incontinence thing, but it was just taking ages. So anyway, yeah, if you wanna hear it more in depth, go and watch the video about how I got a single cell. The guy from Kent who I met in Stockton. He was either doing a 10 or his previous bit of bird was a 10. You know, a 10 year. So you'd done 5 or 7 out of it back then. You know, half. You're up for parole after half. If you get knocked back for your parole, you've got to do 3/4, which would have been 7. Then I think 7. Anyway, so I've met him, and he's talking on the wing about the 10 that he'd done, or the 10 that he was doing, about you know, it was a sort of how would you describe it? An invasion, a home invasion. You know, people are in, they're old. There's no easy way to say it. You know, he tied them up and took their stuff. You know, and I think the old man got hurt. Yeah, and in reality, that's an old couple. You know, but it shows how much of a wrong I was back then. I'm thinking, well, there was a lot of money involved. That's what I was thinking. Shows how much of that says a lot about me, how much of a sinner I was as well. I mean, wasn't even judging him really. It was just, oh yeah, they were cool. Yeah, it was a lot of money, and you know, you sort of, I'm justifying my own age. Well, yeah, I can understand how things escalate when there's that sort of money involved, but what a wrong I was. Forget about the other man. Number 1 though has got to be it was Aylesbury, and I don't know why I said "and" like that. And F-wing was full of the wrong uns that were like the famous ones. They were everywhere in this jail, yeah, but the famous ones were on F-wing, like the ones that were there for their, like that were just. I mean, some of these boys looked. A lot of these people look like what they are for a start, but a lot of these boys that was on that wing looked like they were 12. Like, and so you think for your own safety, they got to go on there as well, yeah, because of what they've done, and they looking like that young, and that's weird actually saying that. How like the younger looking ones were all in for that sort of thing. No, anyway, but yeah. Geezer he wasn't a geezer, he was a boy, he wasn't even a boy, wasn't even human really. Imagine being at a family party. Yeah. Everyone's there. Nans, granddads, mums, dads, sisters, brothers, nieces, little kids running about, little 5-year-old running about in a fairy outfit, yeah. She goes upstairs. Matey goes upstairs, follows her up there, and like, you know, this is Aylesbury, so you're 18 to 21. He follows her up there, and he's the only one that comes down. She's found in an unnatural position upstairs, yeah. And how did he even think he was going to get away with it? The impulse must have just been too strong for him, yeah. He got caught, and he was. That's when we come across him. I've said before, I first met this geezer. Again, he was young looking. I met him sitting in the waiting room watching a film in healthcare. I'm just sitting there watching the film. It was like one of those superhero films on. I'm watching the film on the telly. It was like there was no one in there. It was just a massive long wait. All day wait, all morning, all afternoon, or whatever. It was me. There was a few of us, but it whittled down to me and this other geezer. Again, he was like young looking, black curly hair, sideburns, glasses. Telling me he was in for GBH. Just, you know what I mean? I'm not really listening, I'm watching the film. But, you know, talking about it before, maybe he's asked for a Rizla or whatever. Can't really remember, but we was chatting. He's like, yeah, GBH. Oh, yeah. Again, I wasn't really paying attention. I should have looked at him properly and thought, who on? A ragdoll, you know what I mean? That's what I should have thought. But anyway, turns out that's what he was in for. And I've actually said what happened when he was bumped into at another time in another video. So go and check that out. But definitely that would be the most sinful out of all of them that I can think of at the minute. If you enjoyed that, hit subscribe and we'll chat again. Adios.